Howdy, hey, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Nick and Nash podcast. As always, I'm your host, Matt Nash, and with me, as always, is my co host, Nick Calvacca. However, today, we have a very special guest with us, Paul Kosanovich from Virginia, from Virginia Baseball. Paul, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. I was really sweating there for a little bit trying to get the last name down, but luckily, Virginia Sports has a pronunciation on there.
I was gonna say you nailed it.
Well, thank you. I was really nervous about
At
that.
least you're
So
honest. I would have just took the credit.
no. Hey man, we are all about honesty here. So Paul, you are a barstool athlete, correct?
Yes.
So what is that like being this kind of a trailblazer on this path here? Because you're like one of the first people in the world to do this. How does it
Yeah.
feel?
Uh, I mean, first of all, it feels really cool. I think at the same time, it hasn't quite set in yet, just because this is such a new thing, new path that's being explored. Um, so there's a lot of mixed emotions go into it, but all of them good.
Awesome, man. And what was your initial reaction, if you can walk us through that, when you first saw that these NIL rules opened up, and that people were able to start doing this?
Um, so like I had obviously like heard about it going through like the courts and everything last year, and then I really hadn't thought about coming back at all this year. And then just the situation being I'm back this year, and then kind of once our season was over, that's when I started realizing like, oh, these are going through, because that's when I started seeing Instagram posts, like little news articles saying, oh, July 1st it goes through, July 1st it goes through. So it really wasn't until like basically the end of June when I was like, oh, I can take part in this. Like I'm going to be a college athlete one more year. Um, so yeah, it was kind of a surprise, and then I still haven't really like navigated all the way through it. But I think the opportunity is something that's really great and something that's going to benefit college athletes down the line for sure.
Yeah, man. Like, we're really happy for you guys. And, I love now that I can now see, Paul Kosanovich Subway or something stupid like
Right.
that, just y'all doing whatever you want to do, just doing how you got to make money, Nick.
Yeah, Paul. Are there any like big plans so far that you've heard for Barstool Sports, or right now is it kind of still just kind of winging it and waiting to see what Dave does?
Yeah, just kind of winging it right now. Really, the only thing solid was we all put in our orders for like our athlete like sweatwear, clothing.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, there hasn't been anything solid in place quite yet. He did send an email to like, well, to me, I'm sure to the other athletes that he was working on something and kind of making a process. He said, if you know me, obviously, I have a great opportunity like this, and we're serious about turning it into something real and something really opportunistic for you guys.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but so nothing solid yet, but he said he's working on it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he seems like one of those guys who takes everything seriously.
Yeah,
Business wise at least.
right.
So yeah, I mean that should be good then. Obviously it's all new, so I'm sure everyone's in the same boat, as far as these new laws go and these new regulations go. Everyone's kind of just probably getting it together. Have you talked to anybody else, or right now are you just sticking with Barstool and kind of focusing on baseball?
Yeah, I got like a couple messages, and I filled out a couple surveys
Okay.
just to like test the waters, but I haven't really committed on anything else. Just I haven't kind of taken the time to like do research and really decide on what I want to do, because I don't want to necessarily just throw my name everywhere. Like I kind of want to do a little bit of research and just kind of know what I'm putting my name behind. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I like, it's a great thing now that we have this, but I don't necessarily want to be the guy that's just taking every opportunity. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'd rather just have a little background about what I'm putting my name behind.
Yeah, be
Definitely.
careful. Be careful. I actually was scrolling through Twitter today, and I saw a gaming chair company get canceled because they
Really?
kept posting memes that were like, where certain individuals were the butt of the joke, and so the slighted community was not happy and is now making a push to get them canceled. So
yeah.
make sure you do research into everything that you're gonna support.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for coming on our show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Paul, let's enough about that. Let's talk some baseball, and actually more so than baseball, let's talk about you. Tell us your story, bring us all the way back before Virginia, the recruiting process, maybe just the college overall, recruitment, stuff like that. Walk us through your decision and walk us through baseball before college life.
Yeah. So out of high school, I actually played college football at New Mexico Highlands University, which is a Division II in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Had fun, just at the time, like my last year of high school, baseball was kind of in the back of my head. Like I was struggling a little bit, hitting wise, and I was doing well in football. So I was like, this is, I guess I'm better at football. Like it is what it is. And I went to like this senior camp thing, and there was a lot of D2, D3s, NAIAs there. And I just got lucky. We went into the 7-on-7 period, and the quarterback just hit me a couple times and realized I was a viable option. So he just kept targeting me, and I was making catches, and then college coaches were coming up to me and just kind of taking notice. So I ended up committing there, going there for a year. Weren't very good. I think we finished up 0-11. So that was
all right. Well,
yeah.
Jeez.
Happens. A down year. That's all.
Yeah. So we got new coaches going into my sophomore year. And I was playing a little more in the spring. I had a really good spring. So I was excited. And then coming back home, I ended up getting sick and losing basically all the weight that I had gained.
Okay.
And it was just really frustrating because I was thinking like I have a big frame I can put weight on, but just me not realizing my body wasn't mature enough yet. It was hard for me to like put on the weight and keep it on. Like I thought I was just going to start working out and put on 40 pounds, no problem. But obviously it's not how it necessarily goes every time. So ended up I was like sitting on my bed. I looked up in the mirror one morning and I was just like, holy cow, just seeing all the weight that I had lost.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know what it was, but the gears started turning in my head. It was the summer, so I was like watching baseball highlights. And I was like, you know what, I kind of miss baseball. My two best friends were playing baseball at the time. So I was like talking to them like, you know what, I kind of miss baseball. Like, I love football, but I'm not really enjoying it at this stage that I'm at right now. Like, I feel like I just enjoy it because of the hype. In the sense that, like, I love football and I love playing it, but just sometimes it was really hard to get up and go to practice when, we're 0-7 getting blown out. And it's just like, do I really want to do this? I'm only on special teams. And it was tough some mornings.
Recording stopped.
Uh-oh. We lost Nick. We got it. Let's just keep going.
Okay. Well, it said the recording is stopped. Are you good on your end?
Oh, yeah. I'm using a different service entirely.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so it was tough. And then I just got to thinking and started kind of putting my feelers out. And then I was like, you know what? Baseball was my first love. I was more natural at it. It's always been my sport. So I was like, at the end of the day, if I'm going to have a chance to make it, it's going to be baseball. So I kind of just made the decision, jumped in the deep end, and went back to baseball. Played on a summer team with my buddy that he was playing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that coach there was an assistant coach at East LA College. So that's where I ended up committing and playing junior college ball. And then from there, the old pitching coach at Virginia knew my head coach at East LA. So that's how I kind of got in contact with him.
Connections on connections, right?
Yeah, seriously. just one of those crazy things. Yeah, he texted me and he's like, "Hey, this is Coach Kuhn from the University of Virginia." And I like did a double take and I was like, all right, so like different Virginia, like obviously. it was just one of those like crazy moments.
Yeah.
Really cool at the same time. And then no, it was him from the University of Virginia, and talked to him for a couple weeks. He came down to visit. Talked to him there in person. He saw one of my starts, liked what he saw. Ended up taking a trip and signed my letter of intent, and here we are now.
Yeah, I mean, what a journey that is, right?
Yeah.
So here we go. I like to ask these questions here. Let's try and get to the root of all of this. So you said like you still loved baseball. What caused that love for baseball? What birthed that? Was it like going to ballparks with your dad when you were a kid, or was it like just
I
watching the game on the big screen, watching the show? What was it?
I think, I mean, first and foremost, playing. Like, I enjoyed playing. I think it stems from me being super competitive. I think I've always been really competitive. So baseball was just the first sport that my parents signed me up for and introduced me to.
Mm.
So it was just that first opportunity for me subconsciously to, really explore this competitiveness and have kind of an outpost for it. And just, I was pretty good at it. So me being competitive and liked winning, I think that definitely helped. Like, oh, I like baseball. Like, I'm good at it. I like winning. I like both. Like, kind of put them both together. But I think like as I grew up, like I really enjoyed watching Major League Baseball. Like, I remember every Saturday they used to have the games on Fox, and I would be up, have it on Fox at 12, watch the pregame show, all the highlights, and then I'd watch whatever game was on, and I'd sit through the whole thing. And I remember even sometimes we had like these little plastic lightsabers, and I'd grab the lightsaber and turn it around, and I would stand in front of the TV in my batting stance, and just as the ball was coming to the plate, like pretend like I was on time, like, yeah, I can hit 95, and like as I'm 10 years old sitting in the living room. But it was just really cool. And then obviously when playoffs came around, that was really fun to watch. And I mean, even now I watch every single game of the playoffs, or as many as I can. Just that's the atmosphere I love. And I think that's where my part of my love for football really came, is I was like, oh, I want to play in front of 80,000 people, lights are on, TVs, everything. So that was part of the thing in my decision to come back to baseball, where I was like, I love football, I love playing it, but the fact that I'm not having as much fun because there's 400 people at 1:00 on a Saturday at a Division II school, like, okay, do I really like truly love it as much as I, for example, love baseball, where, we're out at practice and we're at travel tournaments when I was younger, and the only people in the stands are parents, and it doesn't matter because I'm having fun either way.
Yeah. And then now hear this out. You go to Virginia. Then you get to go and play in front of thousands.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a dream come true. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No,
So
it definitely is. It definitely is.
so you used to practice your swings in front of a TV. What's that?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything in here on batting average. What's the BA looking like?
Not good. That's part of the reason why I'm a PO. I think because I stopped doing that, I lost some of my timing and couldn't really get my foot down. My batting average started going down in high school just as I got older. And that was part of the thing with me choosing football, is I wasn't as good at hitting, so I was getting really frustrated, but I was still pitching well. But for whatever reason, I wasn't getting time on the mound. So it was just like that kind of awkward imbalance where I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing the thing I'm good at, so I'm basing all of my baseball skill off the thing that I'm doing, which I'm not good at. So it was just really frustrating, and I was just kind of done with baseball at that point. But I think it was good because, God has a plan for everybody, and if I didn't have that feeling, I wouldn't play football, wouldn't be back here. And it is what it is, and here we are now, and I wouldn't take it any other way, to be honest.
Exactly. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of break to just kind of realize that was the thing that you did love doing.
Recording in progress.
And
we've done pitchers batting practice a couple times, so I'm ready. If I need a pinch hit appearance, if everybody's done off the bench, I still got my power. I can swing it a little bit, so I'm ready to go.
Are you gonna do what that LSU pitcher did a couple years back? where he's, oh yeah,
Yeah,
coach, I used to rake in high
yeah.
school.
Well, see, the good thing is my pitching coach has seen my BP, so he knows I got some power. I told my head coach too because he came out the next day. He's like, "Anybody look good? Anybody look viable?" And I was like, "I'd like to say I did."
Yep.
I was like, "If we need a home run off the bench, I'm not going to say I'm going to be out here hitting 400 singles left and right. Like, if we need one bomb off the bench,
Why
I'm going
not?
up there. I'm looking for the fastball. I'm swinging as hard as I can."
Exactly.
And
That's like a movie moment, right? Because then it
oh
does
yeah,
the flashback scene to when you were standing in front of the TV with the backwards lightsaber.
oh yeah,
And then it does like the little side by side thing, and then you crank one 400.
yeah.
What did I miss here? What are we even talking about?
You missed it a lot, Nick. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry. I guess I had a connection problem. I'm sorry. I'm on a hot spot now. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah,
You're
you're
doing
all good.
fine. Hot
Um,
spot. Jeez.
oh my God. I don't know what the hell happened to my Wi-Fi, but anyway, sounds like I missed a pretty good conversation. Can I jump back to something that I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
during the recruitment and stuff? And I hope Matt didn't touch on it yet. You come from a football family. I see here your cousins played at North Carolina Central, correct?
North Central.
North
It's in,
Central.
yeah, it's in Illinois.
And your grandfather, Bronco, was a center for Penn State and played for the Steelers, correct? So
Yes.
now, was that maybe the reason you went the football route? Were you being persuaded by family members? What was that like?
So for me, I was kind of struggling in baseball. I was kind of touching on it with Matt. Is I was kind of struggling in baseball hitting wise, and I was still good at pitching, but it was just an awkward imbalance of I was doing what I wasn't good at, so I was using that as kind of a testament to my skill baseball wise. And baseball gets frustrating when you struggle. It's a game of failure, so I was really frustrated because I was failing a lot.
Yeah,
And
I hear
just
you.
at the time, I had done that camp, and I was getting a lot of interest from football. So I was like, maybe I'm better at football. Maybe just I've said my goodbyes with baseball. So that's how I kind of made that decision. And then coming back was just kind of the realization that whole year.
Hmm.
I mean, it was brutal going 0-11. I'm super competitive. I hate losing, and it was a tough year in general. Just because I started off the year, I was starting, and then I ended up getting benched, and kind of was trying to do all I could to work myself back on the field, but just I felt unfairly didn't really get an opportunity.
I hear you.
I think it was just like for me, it was a little problem personality wise with one of the coaches.
Just wasn't a
Uh,
fit. Wasn't a fit.
yeah, just wasn't a fit. I really love my offensive coordinator. Um, so once in a while, like we'll hit each other up on Instagram, just a little comment about something we see about what they're doing. I really enjoy, and that's part of the reason why I committed to that school is he was coming from Michigan, so the
Okay.
offense he was running was very pro style and very tight end friendly. Because that's what I played in college. So going in, I was like, oh yeah, because I played quarterback and D end in high school, so I was kind of new to tight end.
I
So
see you got quarterback on your resume.
yeah, so I played quarterback, D end in high school, and just kind of realized we weren't too good. We weren't in a crazy league, so I was able to just from raw talent, just I had a good arm from playing baseball those years. So I was able to toss a little bit on the football field, and it was just, I mean, quarterback was just the natural fit for me. But I knew in college I didn't want to have to learn a whole new offense and basically learn a bunch of footwork and all this. Um, and also I didn't know, like, I'm sure coaches were going to take guys that already had the footwork so that they only had to worry about the offensive stuff. So I was like, you know what, like I'm down to play tight end. I have a big frame. I've always had good hands because I moved around. My junior year, I was more wide receiver. So I have decent hands. I can move around a little bit, and I have a big frame to put weight on. So I was like, you know what, tight end seems like a perfect fit. So yeah, that's how it worked out.
Yeah, and it's funny you say you always had a good arm from baseball. Did that translate, I guess, onto the football field, or were you guys like a running style team? I don't know. I'm just trying to get a gauge for what was happening there.
It definitely did. Our JV year, we were more pro style, so I got to toss it a little bit, which was good. And we went like 6-4, and like our high school had struggled, so it was really exciting. Like even the people around, it was really exciting to see like our JV team go 6-4 against some really good competition. We played some really good football games, so everybody's like, "Oh, these kids are coming up! Like it's gonna be exciting." And then the new coaches we got my senior year when I was back at quarterback, we ran the wing T. So I didn't really get the same opportunity to throw it as much as I would have liked to, or just in the same offense. So I think that was, it was just one of those situations.
Yeah, that happens. My friend,
All right,
like,
so now.
Okay. All right, Nick, just so you know, man, you're coming in kind of late and kind of choppy. Let's see.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Well, we're going to work a way around this one. We'll find a way, we always do. So, what was it like being the grandson of a professional football player? I just wanted to hit on this because, that just sounds really cool to me, you know?
Yeah. I think I really I didn't really realize it growing up. Like I knew like, oh, he played for the Steelers and it was really cool. Cause I mean, I think part of it was he played 1 year cause he ended up breaking his leg and after that just didn't go back to playing. But it never really hit me until I was a little older. Like, oh, my grandpa played football and like signed an NFL contract. Like my dad has framed in his office, I think the first letter that they sent, kind of basically like the front of the contract of like, hey Bronco, welcome to the Steelers, blah, blah, blah. So like that's always really cool to go back and see. But I think the other thing too
What a franchise.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, what a franchise.
We're waiting with bated breath over here, Nick. You're coming.
You're part of.
There it is. There's the last of it. All right. What were you saying, though, Paul?
Oh, no, just to what he was saying. Yeah, what a franchise. I mean, we're all Steeler fans, so I'm fully behind that statement of what a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping we can kind of turn it around a little bit. I feel like we're 1 or 2 pieces away, just trying to find it. But this year is definitely going to be interesting. Because we lost a few linemen. Bud Dupree's gone, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting year this year.
Yeah, it will, but I think this is going to be, I wouldn't say a make or break year because you got two young dogs from Alabama. Because I go to Nick used to go here, and I am currently in Tuscaloosa right now at the University of Alabama, and you got Minka and you got Najee. You guys are going to be good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was really excited when we made that trade for Minka.
Yeah,
Really excited for that.
I was just shocked that I knew he's good, but seeing the impact he had, just the Steelers went from being this is a good defense to this is the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, because we always had a good line and good linebackers, but it was just the struggles in the secondary. Because the last few years, when we played Brady in the playoffs, it was just we couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And then finally we had that safety to kind of hold it down and just strengthened our secondary. And then all of a sudden it was like, holy cow.
What?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you guys are Steelers fans because of your grandfather.
I think that's probably part of it. I've just always grown up Steeler fan. A lot of my family still lives in Pittsburgh, and my dad's family kind of moved around, but I think a decent amount of their time was in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh. And my aunt lives in the city right now. My grandma lived out there before she recently passed away, but she was out in why am I blanking out right now? It'll come back to me. It's early for me.
Yeah, it's early, so it's all right. All right, Nick, you had something to ask?
Yeah, if I'm coming in.
Well enough.
All right. Paul, let's go back now to yourself. So you decide, you know what, it's not working. I'm going to make the switch. Talk us through transferring. What was that like? And not only transferring, but saying, I'm going to transfer and also start to play baseball
Yeah.
at such a high level at Virginia.
So I would say, like, looking back on it, and especially now with some of the situations I've heard with other people going through the transfer portal and stuff like that, I would like to say that I'm very, very lucky in both instances of transferring. One of them was back to junior college, so it was a little easier than going to a university. But even then, so my buddy was playing baseball on a summer team, and he was transferring back from his school. And the coach that he was playing summer ball for was an assistant coach at East LA College. So and he had seen me in high school. So when my buddy said, "Hey, Paul's thinking about playing baseball, he wants to come out," he was like, "Yeah, for sure." And then just as we were going through summer ball, he was like, "Hey, come to ELAC. Like, why don't you just come to ELAC?" And for me, it was a no-brainer just because I was like, "Oh, I mean, it's junior college. I'm not really gonna take the time to reach out to other coaches and leverage any situation."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's junior college. Like, I trust this guy. Like, I know he knows people. He says my head coach knows people. And at that point, I just kind of said, you know what, I still have to play for them to even get in contact with people. So I was like, I got an opportunity right in front of me. Like, why not? And then from there, after that year, once again, just very luckily kind of fell into my hands, was my head coach at East LA knew the old pitching coach at Virginia, Carl Kuhn, and they had been friends for 20 some odd years apparently. So he basically just kind of took some video from the dugout and sent it to him and said, "Hey, I got a guy for you if you need a pitcher." And then
he liked what he saw, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked to him for a couple weeks. He ended up coming down to talk to me in person, and then saw me pitch in a game, and then liked what he saw. So gave me a call back in the airport before his flight back. Said liked everything, like, opportunity's there for you if you want to take it. And then I went home, talked to my parents. They were obviously all supportive of it and committed, and here we are today.
Yeah, and you're performing well in these Virginia games.
Here we are today.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these stats, and did not allow an earned run in 4 of 5 outings. Here's the thing: I don't know much about baseball if that isn't evident, but that sounds good to me. As a non-baseball guy, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I was. It was one of those things. I mean, I wouldn't say I struggled my first year there. I think I did pretty well, like in the beginning half of the season, and then kind of right in the middle, I randomly got appendicitis. So was out for a month because of that, and then just kind of coming back. I don't know if it was that affected me or just kind of like end of the season. But just, had a couple outings where I gave up a couple runs and only got one or just got pulled before I had an opportunity to get more outs. So obviously that jumps your ERA up. But I mean, even then, I think I ended up with like a 4 something. So looking back on it, not too bad for the bullpen. And then, this last year, the COVID year, I started out really strong. I was kind of down in the fall, just rehabbing like an arm hit issue. So I was late coming out in the spring, and then I kind of struggled. I got hit around a little bit in the early spring. I think it was it was fully me putting a lot of pressure on myself because I told my head coach, I was like, "Hey, like, I've always been a starter. Like, it's not just that I want to. Like, I feel like I'm a better starter. Like, I feel more comfortable in the starting role. Like, I want a chance to earn a starting spot." And then me being kind of naive, I didn't realize, like, hey, you haven't been throwing for 4 or 5 months. You're not just going to be able to, come back and just immediately be yourself.
Just
So
pump 6, 7 innings.
Yeah, exactly. So I was getting really frustrated on that end in those first few starts of the spring, just against our team, because I was trying to force everything. I was like, oh, I can't give up a hit. I can't give up a run. So just everything was really tight. And, I was just getting super frustrated. And it just kind of took a while for me to kind of sit back and be like, hey, you're a month back into throwing. Like, as much time as it takes off, generally it takes that much time to kind of build back to where you were. And that mindset the switch flipped for me basically going into the season, because at that point it like just very naturally my mindset was, oh, okay, it's not about me anymore. Like now I know I'm going to be in the bullpen. Like I earned my role. Now at this point, like it's for the team. Like I'm doing this for the team. There's a lot of other guys, like we're playing other teams now. It's not just me trying to earn a spot. I have my spot, and when I go out there, I'm trying to keep the lead or whatever the situation is, so that we can win ball games. And I think that kind of that switch was the beginning of me kind of being able to step back and realize, okay, I'm doing well now. Why wasn't I doing well before? And kind of realizing, okay, now I'm starting to just take in the mental side of it, which is super important, I think, sports in general, but especially with baseball. Just the mentality game is so huge.
The biggest mental game that there is.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And a frustrating one at that.
Yeah.
But you know, with everything you just said, I would like to ask you, what's your role for this upcoming season? What are your expectations for yourself? And then we'll get to the team in a little bit.
I mean, for myself, I'm going in to win a starting job. I still stand behind, you know, about myself that I feel like I'm more comfortable in that role. Through high school and even in JUCO, like I get stronger as the game goes.
Okay.
So I feel like me personally, I'm better at, you know, throwing the first 4 innings. And then once I kind of get into a groove, I move on from there. And, you know, it's not like I start to lose it in the 7th, 8th, 9th. It's like, all right, if we get this guy out by whatever, if we get through the lineup twice or whatever, it's always been, you know, I get 6th inning, maybe we're getting through the 3rd time in the lineup, and maybe where other guys start to slow down. For me, it's always been, no, I'm turning it up now. Like I'm at this point, I'm going to finish it at this point. And I think
so it sounds like they gotta, sorry, I was going to say, it sounds like they got to get you early.
Yeah. I would say so. Just, yeah. And just having that same, like, I like having the pressure. I like having the ball. So I think that's the other thing that goes into it is, you know, I just want the ball and I want to go out there and I want to throw all 9 innings. Like that's just the mentality I've always had. I was talking to Matt about it a little bit. Just I'm very competitive. So I think it kind of comes out in that sense where, you know, I want the ball all the time, which honestly, just being in the bullpen for the first time, like that's definitely been the tough part about it, is kind of some games having to sit there and not have any impact on it. And obviously like that happens with starting too. Like I can't start every game. But just, or even in some games where I'm like, oh, I'm only throwing 1 inning. So like I do my job in this inning, but you know, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the game. And like, there's nothing I can do about it.
Absolutely.
Whereas like starting, like I'm out there and it's just, I have that one day, but that one day I'm like, you know what, this is my day. It's my turn to back up my team. You know, my job is to go out there and have a quality start and let the guys score runs behind me.
And I'm sure the preparation too. I mean, I obviously at a much, much lower level than you, but even when I was in high school and for a season of Division III, for whatever it's worth, just the whole preparation, you know, you wake up in the morning, you know, you're getting the ball, you know, it's just all day in class. You got one thing on your mind, let's be honest. And you know what you have to do preparation wise all week, because like you said, when you're relieving, it's great because, yeah, sure, you can throw an inning or two each game, but besides that, you don't have much of an impact.
Yeah. And I'm very process based. So it's just that comfortable feeling of like, okay, I have like you were saying, preparation. Like I know what I'm doing this day leading up to it. I have a whole schedule. And then even on game day, like I have my own routine. I can kind of take my time, put my headphones on, kind of get in that mindset, prepare. Whereas the bullpen, I mean, it's a totally different mindset just because you got to be ready at any point. Like at some time, like, you know, your role, so you know the general idea of when you're throwing, but still at the same time, like you don't know if the opportunity is going to come up that game.
Yeah.
Like, going into a weekend, what days you're going to throw, because you don't know, like, if we're going to be up 2 runs this weekend or 2 runs this day, or maybe they throw me in because we're down 2 runs because it's Sunday, or like it's very up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, you're out there spitting seeds. Your guy's throwing a gem, and then back-to-back hits, and hey, get Paul up.
Yeah,
And then you're like, ah, crap.
yeah.
So I definitely understand. He's a big basketball guy. I'm a little more baseball. So hey, I completely understand it. But as far as the team expectations go, you obviously have made it clear you feel comfortable as a starter. You're looking to start this year. But Virginia's a big program. Hey, and it's ACC baseball. So tell us what we can expect from you guys as a club this year.
I'm really excited. I think we had a decent amount of guys drafted, but I think some of the guys that are coming back, especially the young guys, we have a good core set, and especially with us making it to Omaha, there's those guys that are coming back know what it takes. So it's not just like, oh, there's these older guys coming back. Like, no, the older guys coming back have been there, knows what it takes to get there. So it's a lot easier for us to kind of help the younger guys along, the new kids coming in. But yeah, I mean, I think we got enough guys coming back to have that experience. So I'm excited. I wouldn't be surprised if we made another run for it. I think it's definitely in our capabilities.
And Paul, I hate to, and I'll throw it to Matt here because I'm taking too much time with you, but I see a little New York license plate there in the background.
Jeez, here we go.
Are you a New Yorker, my friend?
So I was actually born in New York, but
all right,
I moved to California when I was 1.
We got one, Matt. We got one.
So I'm down to the core. I'm a Californian, but I was born in New York and we lived there for a year. But yeah, I don't know if my dad had that off his car. Him and my uncle are the same. My uncle is the same thing. In his garage, he just has different license plates they collect. So I don't know where that one's from, actually. I didn't really notice it until I came out here and turned on the computer, and then I noticed. I was like, oh. But yeah.
So we've been having guys from all over the country lately, and you're our first. Even if it was for a year, I don't care. You're our first New Yorker. I'm from out of New York. I shoot from New York. So welcome.
He does this every time. Every time he has to ask, "Oh, you were in New York for a day and a half? Are you Italian? Are you New York? Are you from New York?" And I'm like, dude, we had a guy on the other day from a baseball program based in New York, or not baseball, basketball program based in New York. And he was like, yeah, I was there for 2 years. And he said, so are you Italian at all? I see you got a big nose. I'm like, dude, what?
I didn't say that.
You might as well have. All the time, man. All the time he does this stuff. I swear, whatever.
I mean, I kind of made it easy on him here. Just sitting in the background, so.
I couldn't even read that said New York. He's on Crap Connection with like laser focus eyes. That says that's 3 letters and then 4. That's a New York tag.
Hey, I'm kind of pissed off because my connection on my end is great. I see you guys good, and it seems like you guys can't even hear me.
We can hear you a little, yeah. Better.
It's good enough.
All right,
so, great. All right. Speaking of things behind you, let's just go ahead and dive into this. I see the Virginia baseball pennant, the Yale pennant. What's up with the Yale pennant?
So my younger brother goes to Yale.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be a senior this year. He actually kind of earned the opportunity to go to Yale based off his grades. Whereas,
really?
I'm at Virginia based off my athletic ability. I mean, I get it done in the classroom. I'm not. Huh. You got to get some scores to be able to get in there. But obviously baseball helped a lot, where if I was applying on my own, I don't know if I would have gotten in. And funny story is too, I make fun of it for him sometimes. He actually applied to Virginia and didn't get in.
Wow.
There you go. Prestigious.
I'm holding that over his head. But I mean, he's at Yale, so I guess it was, horrible second option. But,
just
one of those things.
Fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
You can't.
You should have
found it like that.
You should have kept his rejection letter from Virginia and just put it on the fridge or something. If whenever he tries to get smart with you.
No, what you needed to do was do the thing like your dad did, and you need to frame it, but you needed to keep it. And then one day when he wasn't paying attention after he's long been successful and has his own house, his own business, you walk into the office where he's at the most amount and replace one picture or a diploma on the wall with that. Just hang it up.
It could be my wedding present too.
There you go. Perfect.
Just in my brother's speech, I can just I'll definitely add that in, but just have it. And I want to give you something personal and just hold up the frame and give it to him right on the table.
Now that my friend is high level disrespect.
Paul, what's for lack of a better term, what team can you just really not stand? Who do you, when the schedule comes out, who do you circle, and who are you like as a reliever at this point? Who are you like, you know what, I need to get in this game and make sure I pitch this series?
No, and I respect all my opponents.
That's the first time.
What a
That's the first time
answer.
we've gotten. That's the first time we got that answer, Matt.
Yeah, it is, because every time we say that, someone will go, "This school."
Yeah. I will say, it was tough not playing this year because it was really cool to watch us go to Virginia Tech and play them there. Because, I mean, even watching – I was back in our apartment. I didn't go on the trip. But even watching it on TV, I could see the atmosphere. And, like, you could tell how loud it was and how crazy it was. And, that type of stuff fires me up. Like, I'm a very emotional player. So I think that is definitely one situation where I would have liked to be out there. Because I would have just loved to shove it in front of all those fans. And plus, like, obviously, Virginia Tech, like – would have been fun to shove it against them just because it's Virginia Tech.
Yeah. I respect all my opponents, but yeah, I want to shove it down their fans' throat.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, yeah. I love that stuff. I mean, it really could have been just any team. Like, if you got a big crowd, and you guys are all yelling, blah blah blah. Like, my favorite thing to do is just shut you up. Like, I don't know. That's just how. Like, that's just the competitor in me. Like. When we're at home, like, I want to make everybody get on their feet, and when we're on the road, I want to make everybody sit down and just not have anything to say.
So you're the guy that it's like, you're dealing one game. Like, you are out there just throwing heat, and then you get a guy, and it's like the crowd erupts. You turn around, you start yelling, right? You turn around, fist pump, yelling at the crowd, chest bumping the second baseman,
Yeah. I pick and choose. I try not to overdo it, but definitely, like, it's just one of those things that comes natural. Like, if it's naturally coming, like, I'm not gonna hold it in. I'm gonna let my emotions show. But yeah. But I mean, the one thing I do hate is, like, I won't name any names, but there was a team we played this year, who, well, I mean, there were multiple guys, but, like, just in the situations where guys are kind of, like, yelling from the third inning and just, like, the game's just really developing. Like, yeah, like, you got a strikeout, that's cool, but, like, for you to turn to the dugout and yell at our dugout, like, you're doing some big thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, I get it because, I yell, but I don't know, just for, like, a second, third inning thing and, like, turning out the dugout, it's just one of those things is, I let it happen naturally, but I pick and choose.
Yeah. Chill out, bro. That's your second K. No need to scream here, okay?
Yeah. Heat of the moment, who knows what could happen. I would like to say, I think besides one case in summer ball, for the most part, like, my yelling has been more either just to myself or to my dugout. It hasn't really been, like, in your face type the other way, because I mean, part of the reason I think I don't do that is just, I mean, I take Luke Smith, for example, for Louisville a couple years ago playing Vanderbilt, is he has that whole fiasco looking at the dugout. And then, the next inning he gives it up and Vanderbilt ends up winning the game. So, I mean, nothing against him, using that as an example. But yeah, just in those instances where, I mean, if you're confident in yourself and you want to do it, go ahead. But, that's why I'd rather, like, keep it just to my team, because I would hate to be that guy that's like, Yeah, he yelled at us, and then he just gave it up the next inning, and then because you look like
you look like a fool.
Yeah, you look like a fool. So
You become a meme.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
I can't let you get away with this. You slipped something in there, and we're gonna bring it back to this. That one time at Summer Ball, what happened?
So, so basically, I was throwing. I was playing for the Keene Swamp Bats. It was two summers ago.
What a name! What a name!
Yeah, Keene Swamp Bats, NECBL, and we were playing against the Vermont Mountaineers, I think. And I mean, they were John all game yelling. I couldn't hear if they said anything like personal, but they were just like, especially late. I was having a good game. Like I was sixth, seventh inning. I think the runs I had given up were unearned. But I mean, on the stat line, I was shoving. So I was feeling good. And then I think we got to the end of the eighth. And just up to that point, they were kind of jeering a little bit. So I think there were runners on the corners with 2 outs, and I was like, "Oh, I got this guy." And I threw a slider, and I told my catcher, I was like, "We're gonna start him off with slider. I'm gonna try to get him to miss it, like just start it on him, whatever." So it worked out perfectly. He swung, capped it, one hopper right back to me, and then just all of it slipped away because I reached up and just kind of looked down, and it tipped off my glove.
Oh,
And I was
no.
just like, So that got him going, but that's like kind of just some behind about the inning. But yeah, they were John the last couple innings. So then the next batter hit like a comebacker to me, like kind of on the ground. I kind of like short hopped it, like scooped it, and then kind of like sidearm whipped it over to third and just kind of like looked at their dugout as I was walking off the field, and then like that got them riled up a little bit more. And I just like turned around and like pointed at the scoreboard and did a little Jordan shrug, and then kind of as I'm crossing the line. One of my teammates, Zach Messenger, and I still give him a hard time about it. He comes out, he meets me, he's like, "What are you doing, man? You're giving them momentum that don't have. Like, what are you doing? Blah blah blah." And I just like looked at him, and I was like, I couldn't register what was going on because I was just so in the moment of doing that. And I was just like, "What?" And we had come to Virginia the same year. And that was after our first year playing summer ball, but he was a freshman and I was a junior coming in. So it was just everything behind it. I was just like so taken back by it. And I was just like, what? And then I caught him like later that inning. I was like talking to some of our buddies on the team. I was like, "Dude, Mess said this." And I was just like still laughing about it. And I looked down at the end of the dugout and he's just kind of sitting there like this, like, and he comes up to me like after the first out, he's like, "Hey man, I just want to say I'm sorry for what happened back there." He's like, "I don't know what came over me." And I was like, so I still give him a hard time about it today. But yeah, that was the one instance where I looked the dugout's way. But I think part of the reason too, summer ball. So like, I mean, in the back of my head, I knew my day was done. I wanted to go back out for the ninth because I think I was at like 105 pitches, but my coach already said that was my last thing. I knew my day was done, so I was like, "Hey, you know what? Like at that point, that's the point when I'll retaliate. I won't look at the dugout to begin the fight, but if you want to get chippy,
you'll give it back.
I'll
give it back.
I just destroyed you guys, and the only reason I'm coming out is because I've met a pitch count. You're lucky."
Yeah. I mean, that's what my mentality was for sure.
So,
I was ready to go again.
Paul, last question here, and we'll let you get going.
I have one more afterwards. I have to end on the same question. He always forgets this.
What's your plans for after your time at Virginia? Do you see baseball in the future, or what are you studying? What do you think's going to happen?
I definitely hope baseball in the future.
Okay.
I think these last 3 years just have been 3 kind of, unlucky situations for me that I haven't had the opportunity quite yet. But I'm hoping this year with a full year, I'll get that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's all I need. Like, I realize I'm a 6th year. Whoever gives me the opportunity, however much, whatever round, or even if it's free agent, I just want that opportunity because, I love playing baseball. It's what I want to do. I really do believe in my heart that I can do it. I think I have a lot of room to grow. So I'm kind of holding on to all of that, and I've always been confident in myself. So holding on to all of that, I would like to say that I have a good chance to play after next year. But if that doesn't work out, I'm interested in coaching. I majored in history, and I'm gonna finish my master's this year in social foundations and education.
Wow.
So
Awesome. Good for you.
appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm interested in coaching for sure. I think at the college level, I coached that year that I was at JUCO. I helped my JV coach was the varsity coach. So I helped him. I was the offensive coordinator for the JV team, and then I was on the sidelines, or I was up in the booth helping out for the varsity team because he knew that I knew his offense just from when I played. So for him, he was like, "Yeah, man, if you want to come out, I think you can be a big help." And that's part of the reason why he wanted me to do offensive stuff on the JV level, is kind of develop those kids in that way, so that when they get up to varsity, they already know the offense. So I definitely found out then that coaching is something that I really enjoy, something I definitely would foresee myself doing in the future. I think I would like to stay at the college level.
Okay.
But then other than that, I mean, kind of just we'll see what happens. I've been kind of back in my mind interested in firefighting, so that might be an option. Who knows? But yeah, other than that, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. See what happens.
All right. Firefighting. Don't they give you like free meals at Firehouse Subs?
Couldn't tell you.
Dude, that almost makes it worth it by itself. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
honestly. Yeah.
All right, so the last question I always like to ask is this. You get one message to Virginia fans for the upcoming season. What do you got to say?
We're back. We made it to Omaha this year. We got a good group of guys coming back. Good core.
I like it.
And we're hungry. We're hungry and we're ready to go. I think it was a big testament to what we did last year, kind of how we turned around our season. So I think because of that, we're not going to take it lightly headed into this year. But I think with all of us being there before and not getting a chance to win it, like we're hungry, we're ready to go. We want to do it again. We want to get back.
All right.
Awesome. Good answer. Well, Paul, thanks so much for coming on. We do really appreciate it. Sorry about the beginning there with some of those technical difficulties or whatever happened. But we hope to have you on again. We wish you the best of luck, not only with Barstool, but with baseball. We're going to be keeping an eye on Virginia baseball this year. So hopefully you guys are back in Omaha, and best of luck to you after that.
All right.
So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate
and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah, definitely. This was fun. I'd definitely love to do it again. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much to Paul Kosanovich for coming on today, and thank you so much to you, the viewer, for tuning in once again. This has been an episode of the Nick and Nash podcast. So, without any further ado, we bid you all adieu. See you all next time.